Now, Bengal's battle with floods has triggered a fierce face-off between Mamata Banerjee and her India bloc ally and the Chief Minister of neighbouring state, Hemant Soren. Mamata Banerjee has accused the Damodar Valley Corporation of flooding West Bengal to save Jharkhand by releasing 5 lakh cusecs of water over the past 3 days. The West Bengal Chief Minister has also claimed that she called the DVC chairperson and the Jharkhand counterpart to urge them not to release any more water, but that also did not stop them from doing so. While declaring that her government is severing all its ties with the DVC, Mamata Banerjee announced that the border was being closed to prevent vehicles from being swept away by floodwaters of the Bengal side.
এদের তো দেখছি জল ছড়া বন্ধ হচ্ছে না। আমি নবান্নে ফিরে গিয়ে আমি দেখাচ্ছি, সব রিলেশন কেটে দেবো, ডিভিসির সাথে কোনো সম্পর্কই আর রাখবো না। যেদিন ডাক্তারদের নিয়ে আমার বাড়িতে মিটিং ছিল, আমি ডিভিসির যে চেয়ারম্যান তাকে পার্সোনালি ফোন করেছিলাম, আমার চিফ সেক্রেটারি কথা বলেছিল, আমি বলেছিলাম যে আমাদের এখানে বর্ষায় ফ্লাড হয়ে গেছে, প্লিজ এত জল ছাড়বেন না। আমি নিজে হেমন্ত সোরেনকে 3 বার ফোন করেছি, রাত্রিবেলায় 3 বার ফোন করে আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করেছি। ওরা ছেড়েছে তেনুঘাট পঞ্চায়েত থেকে, আর ডিবিসি ছেড়েছে সবচেয়ে বেশি। এখন জল ছাড়ার পরিমাণ 5 লক্ষ ছাড়িয়ে গেছে, পুরো হিসেব ওরা আমাদের বলছে না।
Now, the Soren-led JMM, on the other hand, has warned Mamata Banerjee of retaliation after Bengal police began blocking trucks and other commercial vehicles from Jharkhand at the Dhanbad-West Bardhaman border. Calling the TMC Supremo's decision unreasonable, JMM's General Secretary, Supriyo Bhattacharya, warned of blocking goods trucks carrying essential commodities to Bengal. He also added that Jharkhand's reservoirs were near the danger mark due to heavy rainfall, and the interstate committees oversees the release of water from the dams. Amid the Bengals, the leader of opposition, Suvendu Adhikari, has accused Mamata Banerjee of making false accusations only to hide the inefficiencies of her administration. The BJP also flagged the Bengal government's lack of pre-monsoon preparedness and its failure to boost infrastructure to tackle this annual phenomena in the state. But that's not all. Amid the blame game, the Union Ministry of Power has clarified that the decision to release the excess water into Bengal wasn't taken by the Damodar Valley Corporation on its own. According to the ministry, all decisions regarding the release of the water are taken by a committee which not only has members from both the Bengal and Jharkhand governments, but also central and DVC officials. It has also clarified that the Tenughat Dam, which released nearly 85,000 cusecs of water, is not operated by the Jharkhand government and not the DVC. And to discuss this further, I am joined by our esteemed panel of guests this afternoon. I am joined by Dr. Tanuj Khatri, who is the spokesperson of the JMM. I'm also joined by Orko Kumar Nag, who is the lawyer and the political analyst. Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for taking your time and joining us over here. Let me take this question across to Dr. Tanuj Khatri, who is a spokesperson of the JMM. We'll try and reconnect with Dr. Khatri. Let me take the question across to Orko Kumar Nag, who is a lawyer and political analyst. You know, when ally partners who claim to be good friends, like Mamata Banerjee often calls JMM's chief, Hemant Soren, to be a good friend, when they cannot get on board when it comes to something as basic as being able to contain the water or have a plan in place where all parties are on board, it doesn't augur well to call them India ally partner. They are neighboring state, they're bound to have common issues, they are bordering each other. Then why did a situation like this arise at all? And now, of course, Mamata Banerjee is saying that she's going to shut the borders, will not allow the trucks to go by, and vice versa. A consequences that is going to be warned against by the JMM side has also been issued by the JMM's General Secretary.
Well, I would like to make it very clear that Mamata Banerjee's first and foremost focus has always been Bengal And there is no denial that JMM being a regional party of Jharkhand, their concentration will also be Jharkhand. And there is no wrong in that, I find. But the point is very clear. The point is that who let the water out and how the water came in is absolutely to be looked into. But it has to be remembered that a huge part of Bengal is underwater, under flood, and that flood is perhaps could have been avoided by the control of release of the water. This is more like a man-made flood, and this cannot be allowed by the Chief Minister of Bengal, who is the custodian of the lives and properties of so many people in Bengal. It is not about the alliance. It is not about the India alliance. It is not about the Trinamool or the JMM. It is about the government of Bengal and the government of Jharkhand, which are supposed to take care of not only the people who stays within their borders, but also across, because that is what the federal constitutional structure of the country is meant for. There might be the BJP leader of opposition saying that we are underprepared, but please try to understand that when a man-made flood is down the throat of a government can never be prepared for a man-made flood. And we have been doing our best, apart from the fact that the central government have been constantly blocking funds for the state government of West Bengal in various aspects and is trying to make the government's finances freeze. So with the minimum and bare minimum things we have, the government is trying their best. But man-made flood, it is beyond political lines. It is beyond any understanding or any alliance. This is not politics. This is about people's
Mr.
life.
Khatri,
It is about people's liberty.
how is this a man-made flood when the government is categorically mentioning that the DVC having released water wasn't the fact that it wasn't in the knowledge of the Chief Minister? All members are present over there. And let me take that question across to Pradeep Sinha, who is the BJP spokesperson, also joining us this afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Sinha, you just heard what Dr. Khatri was saying. He is calling it, Mamata Banerjee is terming it to be a case of man-made flood. Do you agree this is a case of man-made flood where she is now blaming, of course, the central government and JMM as well?
I think that before releasing the water, I think prior information is given to the concerned government. And this had to be taken into consideration that with due respect to all the governments, either it be Jharkhand government or the West Bengal government, they have talked to each other. But Mamata Banerjee is accusation that Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren did not take care of the situation and he did not try even to stop the flood. I think Mamata Banerjee should talk to the central government and reciprocally, she should also contact to the state government and make a way out how the people can be saved from the flood. Despite that, she is alleging that Jharkhand government is not supporting us. DVC, as you saw your right, she had talked to the DVC chairman and chairman is not taking cognizance of the situation. I think whole situation is to be taken into consideration because when the downfall, I think for 2 days continuously the rain was so heavy that when the Panchayat dam or the Mathan dam get over flooded, water has to be released, madam. And I think Mamata Banerjee has to realize that water has to be released and the way out, downline, the water flows downline. तो आप ऐसे तो मतलब किसी पर एलिगेशन लगाकर आप अपनी जिम्मेदारियों से you can't shirk away from your responsibilities.
जी बिल्कुल शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए. But we're getting you some breaking news on the story. I request our panel of guests to continue to stay with us. As far as the Bengal floods are concerned, Mamata Banerjee has written to the Prime Minister. Well, that is a big breaking news that we're getting you at this point in time, where Mamata Banerjee has written in the letter saying that this is a man-made flood. And amid the row over the rift with the ally JMM, the West Bengal Chief Minister shifts the blame to the centre. She says, and I quote, that flooding has taken place due to sheer negligence. She blames the centre for not desilting the DVC. DVC, the Damodar Valley Corporation, is what the Chief Minister of Bengal is pinning the blame on, that the desilting did not take place, and West Bengal Chief Minister now warns of withdrawal. She says, and I quote, that will withdraw from DVC project, and that is the big breaking news that we're getting you at this point in time. The West Bengal Chief Minister has written a letter to the Prime Minister saying that this is a man-made flood that has taken place that Bengal is now reeling under. Well, let me go across to our guests once again. I'm still joined by Mr. Pradeep Sinha and Orko Kumar Nag. Mr. Pradeep Sinha, you've just heard what we were breaking right now, that Mamata Banerjee holds the government squarely responsible after blaming Jharkhand government. Now, of course, it's time for the central government. Now, you know, they're going to say that it's yet another area where it's a center versus state over this. But doesn't DVC already has representatives from the Mamata Banerjee government? Are we to believe that the DVC took this unilateral call by themselves?
As I already said in my first statement that Mamata Banerjee should talk to the central government. And what she exactly did, that she write a letter to the Prime Minister. And she should try to find out a solution instead of blaming the central government or the state government. As far as I am concerned, I am a spokesperson of BJP, but I will stand with my government, the state government, that it is not a man-made flood. Knowingly, they are not allowing the water to overflow because the 2 days heavy downpour. I think no government can contain the water in the dam, so security of the dam, threat to the nearby villages. So water has to be released. That to be taken into consideration, and with all due respect to both governments, West Bengal or Jharkhand Mukti Morcha led Jharkhand government, I just appeal to them that they work cordially, they talk to each other to find out a solution so that the people do not get affected from the flood, so that it can be, I can see that in coming 1 or 2 days, already rain has stopped, and this is not going to be a big problem, but Mamata Banerjee is trying to make it an issue, political issue. And despite solving the problem, she is trying to shift the game to the center.
Okay, let me take that question across to Orko Kumar Nag himself. Mr. Nag, how do you look at the letter that has been written by the Chief Minister? Do you think this is the need of the hour? Because what people are generally going to say is that people are at crisis right now. There are floods in Bengal. It's a precarious situation that the state is reeling under. Instead of indulging in the blame game, how about trying to find a solution by which this crisis can be mitigated?
Well, firstly, those are who are trying to make a case that the DVC has the representation of the West Bengal government means that the DVC has a control by the West Bengal government. I would like to make it clear for the viewers that DVC is run by a statute, which is an act in itself, which gives the autonomous statutory powers to the DVC. The board of DVC is not even under the control of any particular organization and is answerable only to the central government per se. And that is the law. So far as DVC is concerned.
Okay.
And so far as the desilting is concerned, Mamata Banerjee has rightly pointed out, desilting is something which is absolutely within the purview of the board. If you do not continuously keep the desilting method on, the dams are about to overflow. And this overflowing will ultimately make the people suffer like the Bengal people are suffering today. So the central government, by its representation, by its absolute pervasive statutory control over the DVC, has failed to give a good governance in DVC, which has resulted in not desilting, mismanagement, resulting into a man-made flood. And Mamata Banerjee is pat on to that point, that what is the use of our representatives and the contribution, financial contribution of the state government if the DVC, which is in the pervasive statutory control of the central government, fails to provide the necessary administrative good governance to its own machinery. Desilting, not having the desilted dam is basically a crime on human rights, and the government of India has to answer to that. A single life lost, these properties lost in Bengal, is the responsibility of this man-made flood, and there is no going back to it. This is an absolute irresponsible act so far as the DVC is concerned.
Well, thank you for putting things into perspective for us, Mr. Nag, over here. Of course, you've threw light about who exactly governs the DVC. But having said that, the basic area of concern essentially is that people are suffering and there are floods in several districts of Bengal. The area of concern over here should ideally be how to mitigate the crisis rather than indulging in the blame game. But thank you for joining us over here at Mirror Now. Thank you, Mr. Sinha and Mr. Na, for taking our time.